In shock, I watched flames consume my bridal gown. The cream-colored satin that had required half a year to create perfectly was now becoming a charred, melting disaster. Margaret Wilson, who would soon become my mother-in-law, stood in front of me within the bridal suite at Cleveland's Grand Pavilion, still gripping a lighter in her well-manicured fingers, her expression twisted with victorious fury. "You cannot wed my son now," she announced, her tone shrill with madness. "Jason requires someone from our elite social class, not some insignificant person from the impoverished part of town." She slung her expensive handbag across her shoulder, appearing extremely satisfied with her actions. "I am Valerie Mitchell, and at 25 years old, I never anticipated witnessing my bridal gown burning just 30 minutes before my walk down the aisle." My 3 bridesmaids remained motionless in horror, their purple dresses creating a sharp contrast against the smoldering material at my feet. "Mrs. Wilson," I spoke, my tone remarkably calm as I grabbed my phone, "you have absolutely no comprehension of what you've just done." She cackled, the noise as fragile as crystal. "What I accomplished? I rescued my son from the greatest error of his existence. Do you believe a community college degree and employment at a neighborhood advertising firm qualifies you for a Wilson? My Jason deserves Melissa Hammond. Her father possesses half of downtown Cleveland." I tapped a control on my phone, observing Margaret's expression as I acted. My bridesmaid Jessica quickly moved to open a window, attempting to eliminate the smoke now filling the space. "The wedding is cancelled," Margaret went on, dismissing me with a wave. "I'll simply inform everyone you experienced pre-wedding anxiety. Jason will be disappointed briefly, but he'll comprehend eventually." "Are you certain about that?" I inquired, rotating my phone display toward her. On the screen was a live feed of the ceremony area, the sophisticated rows of white seating, the flower-decorated arch at the altar, and the enormous projection screen currently showing a clear view of this exact room, displaying Margaret in all her destructive magnificence. Her complexion turned white. What is that?" "The wedding's live broadcast," I clarified peacefully, "for Jason's grandparents in Florida and my sister who's stationed abroad. It's been broadcasting for 20 minutes, recording everyone's arrival, the musicians preparing." I stopped, looking directly at her. "And you destroying my wedding dress while declaring your genuine opinions about me. Shut it off." Margaret reached for my phone, her flawless hairstyle becoming disheveled. "You orchestrated this. You trapped me." Jessica positioned herself between us. "Mrs. Wilson, everyone just witnessed you commit a crime on live video. I believe you should pause to think about your next action." My phone vibrated with new messages. My bridesmaid Tina looked at the display and gasped. "It's Jason. He's heading to the bridal suite." Margaret's eyes grew wide with fear. She searched the room frantically, as though looking for an exit. "This isn't how it appears. I was merely testing the material. Wedding gowns should be fire-resistant." From my phone, we could hear whispers from the assembled guests. The camera perspective had changed. Someone had gained control of the live feed and now displayed the wedding party's response. Jason's father sat expressionless in the front row. Jason's groomsman was already rushing toward the building. Most revealing was Jason himself, no longer waiting calmly at the altar but running up the center walkway, his face showing shock and rage. "Valerie," my bridesmaid Melody whispered, "what should we do about the ceremony? Should we tell everyone to leave?" I gazed down at the burning remnants of my dream gown, now merely blackened pieces on the antique wooden floor. The practical side of my mind, the part that had funded my own education while holding 2 jobs, was already planning the next moves. "No," I stated with determination. "The ceremony will proceed. Just differently." The door flew open. Jason appeared, still wearing his tuxedo, his gaze moving from my face to his mother to the destroyed dress on the floor. Behind him, the venue manager and his father emerged, both appearing horrified. "Mom," Jason said, his voice dangerously low, "tell me I didn't just witness you burn Valerie's wedding dress while claiming she's unworthy of our family." Margaret's attitude shifted immediately. "Sweetheart, you don't comprehend. I was protecting you. This woman has been pursuing your wealth from the beginning. I was evaluating her character and—" "Stop." Jason interrupted her. "Stop lying. I heard everything." He faced me, his expression softening. "Val, I'm deeply sorry. I had no idea she would commit such an act." I carefully stepped around the burnt material, approaching him. It's merely a dress, I said, though we both understood it represented much more. But your mother just revealed exactly what she thinks of me, of us, in front of everyone we know. Jason grasped my hands in his, seemingly unaware of his mother's frantic protests. What would you like to do, Val? It's your decision. Before I could respond, Mr. Wilson appeared behind Jason, his expression stern. Margaret, what have you accomplished? His voice was controlled but with an edge I'd never detected before. Richard, please, Margaret begged. You know the Hammonds would be a superior match. Their family has been part of Cleveland's high society for generations. Unlike Valerie, who established a successful career through dedication and perseverance, Mr. Wilson shook his head in disgust. You've exceeded all boundaries this time. My phone kept buzzing with alerts. I glanced down to see messages flooding in from guests who were observing everything on the live feed. The venue coordinator lingered in the doorway, appearing uncertain. Miss Mitchell, she said tentatively, the guests are inquiring about what's occurring. Should we make a statement? I looked at my dress ruins again, then at my bridesmaids in their purple gowns. A strategy was developing in my mind, one that would transform Margaret's sabotage attempt into something completely different. Inform them there's been a modification to the plans, I said, but the ceremony will continue in 20 minutes. Margaret scoffed. In what? Your undergarments? You cannot possibly. In my alternate dress, I interrupted calmly. The room became quiet. Jason looked at me with confusion. You have a spare dress? I didn't naturally, but 6 months of managing difficult clients at the advertising agency had taught me to always prepare for contingencies. Melody, I addressed my bridesmaid. Recall that photography session we participated in for Cleveland Bride last month? Contact Eliza and inquire if her sample gown is still obtainable. Melody's eyes widened with understanding. The cream sheath with lace detailing? It would fit you perfectly. Jason's father stepped forward, retrieving his phone. I'll have my chauffeur collected immediately. Where is it located? While they arranged the dress pickup, I turned back to Margaret, who stood observing in disbelief as her scheme collapsed. You genuinely believed a dress would prevent this wedding after everything Jason and I have endured together? But everyone's observing, she hissed, pointing at my phone. They all witnessed what occurred. Yes, I agreed, they did. And now they'll also witness what follows next. I turned to speak directly to the camera, knowing the guests were still watching. To everyone waiting, thank you for your patience. The ceremony will be slightly postponed, but love always prevails, even when someone attempts to destroy it. Cheers erupted from the phone's speakers, the guests in the ceremony area showing their approval. Jason squeezed my hand, pride visible in his expression. Mom, Jason said firmly, you must leave. Dad will escort you home. You are no longer welcome at our wedding. Margaret's face twisted with fury. You would select her over your own mother after everything I've sacrificed for you? After what you've done today, Jason replied. Absolutely. The following 20 minutes were a blur of activity. While Margaret was removed by security after Mr. Wilson apologetically insisted on it, Eliza from Cleveland Bride arrived with not 1 but 3 sample gowns. The bridal suite became an impromptu fashion center with my bridesmaids, the venue coordinator, and even some female guests who had offered assistance. This one, Jessica announced, displaying an elegant cream sheath dress with delicate lace details. It's ideal for your build, and we can prepare it in minutes. The venue seamstress, originally hired only for final adjustments, performed miracles with safety pins and quick alterations. Meanwhile, Jason had returned to the ceremony area to address the guests personally. Through the live stream, which someone had thoughtfully directed toward the altar, I could hear him speaking. Today didn't begin as any of us anticipated, he was saying, his voice steady despite everything. But Valerie and I have always believed that successful marriages aren't built on perfect circumstances, but on how you handle imperfect ones together. Applause followed his statement. I smiled as Melody positioned the borrowed veil on my head. There, she said, stepping back to admire her work. You look absolutely radiant. The dress wasn't what I'd intended to wear when becoming Mrs. Jason Wilson, but looking in the mirror, I realized it suited me perfectly. Simpler, more elegant, and somehow stronger than my original selection. Like me, adapting to circumstances rather than being defeated by them. Mr. Wilson knocked softly before entering. His eyes widened upon seeing me. "Valerie, you look magnificent." He paused, his expression pained. "I want to apologize for Margaret. Her conduct was unforgivable." "You needn't apologize for her, Mr. Wilson," I responded. "You didn't burn my dress." He nodded gratefully. "Jason asked me to inform you that everyone's prepared whenever you are. And," he added with a slight smile, "your supervisor from the agency is here. Apparently, he's documenting everything for what he calls the greatest viral wedding marketing campaign Cleveland has witnessed." I laughed. Trust Eddie to recognize a promotional opportunity in chaos. The advertising industry had taught me that sometimes the most compelling narratives emerge from overcoming unexpected obstacles. The venue coordinator appeared at the door. "We're ready when you are, Miss Mitchell. The musicians are prepared, and we've modified the lighting to complement your new dress." "Wait," I said, an idea forming. "The live stream is still broadcasting, correct?" When she confirmed it was, I made a quick decision. "Can we project it in the ceremony space for a few more minutes? I'd like everyone to witness us walking from here to there, the entire journey, not just the arrival." 10 minutes later, as my bridesmaids and I made our way through the venue's garden path toward the ceremony space, I knew every step was being transmitted to the waiting guests, not as a traditional bridal entrance, but as something more powerful. A declaration that nothing, not even a spiteful mother-in-law with a lighter, could prevent this wedding. As we approached the ceremony space doors, I could hear the guests' applause intensifying. Jason waited just inside, his face brightening when he saw me. "Ready to marry?" he asked, taking my hand. "More ready than ever," I replied, squeezing his fingers. The ceremony that followed wasn't what we had rehearsed, but it felt more genuine than anything we could have planned. As I walked down the aisle in my borrowed gown, guests rose to their feet applauding rather than maintaining traditional respectful silence. Their faces showed not just typical wedding joy, but something deeper: respect, admiration, solidarity. Jason's father stood proudly in the front row, occasionally glancing at the vacant seat where Margaret should have been. His eyes met mine briefly, conveying silent support. Our officiant, Pastor Mitchell, no relation though we joked about it, improvised beautifully. "Beloved friends," he began, "we gather here today to witness not merely a wedding, but a victory of love over hardship. Valerie and Jason have already encountered their first challenge as a couple, and they've met it with grace, strength, and unwavering dedication to each other." During our vows, Jason added words that weren't in our rehearsal. "I promise to support you against anyone who attempts to divide us," he said, his voice reaching the back of the room and beyond to those watching the live stream. "Even if, especially if, that person is from my own family." When time came for the ring exchange, panic crossed Jason's face. The rings had been with his mother during pre-ceremony preparations. Mr. Wilson quickly stepped forward, producing the velvet box from his pocket. "I took the liberty of retrieving these earlier," he explained quietly, "just in case." After we were declared husband and wife, the celebration that followed seemed to release all the tension that had accumulated throughout the afternoon. As we walked back down the aisle, I noticed Eddie, my boss, filming discreetly from the side. He gave me a thumbs up that managed to be both professional and genuinely emotional. The reception that followed in the Grand Pavilion's ballroom had an atmosphere unlike any wedding I'd experienced before. Instead of polite conversation and standard wedding rituals, there was an almost celebratory defiance in the air. Someone had quickly created a custom Snapchat filter featuring a phoenix rising from ashes with our names underneath. "Your wedding is trending locally on social media," Jessica informed me as we entered the reception. "People are using hashtag rising from the ashes and hashtag can't burn love." Jason's college roommate Tom, who worked in public relations, approached us with his phone. "The Cleveland Plain Dealer wants a statement." Their lifestyle editor witnessed the live stream. Apparently her niece was a guest, and they're calling it Cleveland's most resilient wedding. "Tell them we're simply grateful for everyone's support," Jason replied, his arm secure around my waist, "and that genuine commitment means confronting obstacles together, not fleeing from them." As the evening continued, I observed Mr. Wilson speaking intensely with various family members, damage control evident in his gestures and expressions. Jason's Aunt Diane approached our table during dinner, leaning down to speak privately. "Richard is devastated," she confided. "Margaret's been taken home, but she's threatening to exclude Jason from the family business if he doesn't reconsider. Richard informed her that after today, she's the one who should worry about her position in the company." Jason squeezed my hand under the table. Dad's always been the family's strength, he said. Mom just never realized it because he allowed her to believe she was in control. As our first dance began, I couldn't help but notice the empty tables near the front of the room. Spaces reserved for Margaret's country club friends who had quietly departed after the incident. In their place, colleagues from my advertising agency had moved forward, filling the void with genuine support. Mr. Wilson is managing damage control like a professional, Eddie commented, approaching us after the dance with 2 champagne glasses. He's personally thanking everyone for remaining while subtly letting Margaret's supporters know they won't be missed. Jason nodded, watching his father work the room with newfound respect. I think this is the first time I've witnessed him oppose her so publicly, he murmured. 27 years of marriage, and today was his breaking point. The wedding photographer, initially hired by Margaret, approached us cautiously. Mrs. Wilson, the younger Mrs. Wilson, she clarified with a smile. I've captured some beautiful moments today, but I wanted to ask about the dress incident. Some guests took photos. Would you prefer I request they keep those private? I exchanged glances with Jason before responding. Actually, I think honesty is the best approach here. This is part of our story now. As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a notification. The short clip of Margaret setting fire to my dress had already been viewed over 20,000 times on a local Cleveland news page. The comments section overflowed with support, interspersed with stories from other brides who had faced difficult in-laws. You might not have planned it, Eddie said, scrolling through the comments, but you've initiated a movement. Standing firm against toxic family relationships is resonating with people. Jason's cousin Mia appeared at our table, her expression mixing embarrassment and determination. I want you both to know that not everyone in the family shares Aunt Margaret's opinions, she said firmly. Most of us believe she crossed a line that cannot be uncrossed. Thank you, Mia, I replied, genuinely moved. That means a great deal. As the evening progressed, Jason received a text from his father. He read it silently before showing me the screen. Your mother has barricaded herself in the guest house. She's demanding I choose between her and that girl. I've informed her that her behavior today has made my choice remarkably clear. We'll discuss next steps when you return from your honeymoon. Proud of you both. Dad. Are you all right? I asked Jason quietly, searching his face for signs of regret or doubt. I'm better than all right, he replied, squeezing my hand. For years I watched Mom undermine Dad, belittle you, and manipulate everyone around her. Today she finally revealed her true nature to everyone. Not just us. It's like a burden has been lifted. As the reception continued, I noticed something remarkable occurring. Guests who had been rigid and formal at the beginning, Margaret's side of the family and social circle, were now relaxing, engaging more authentically with my friends and family. Without Margaret's watchful presence, the artificial social barriers she'd maintained were dissolving. Mrs. Wilson, the venue coordinator, approached with an unexpected smile. There's something you should see. She led us to the ballroom entrance. There, prominently displayed on an easel, was a large photo frame filled with dozens of handwritten notes from guests. The heading above them read, Messages of Love and Resilience for Valerie and Jason. Your bridesmaids organized this, she explained. They asked guests to write supportive messages after what happened. 1 week into our honeymoon in the Maldives, the full impact of what had occurred at our wedding was still developing. Jason and I sat on our private deck overlooking crystal-clear waters, scrolling through messages on our phones during our daily reality check-in. Dad says Mom's staying with her sister in Cincinnati, Jason said, setting his phone down. Apparently, Aunt Linda is the only person who still believes her version of events, that she was testing the dress fabric and everyone misunderstood. I smiled, adjusting my sun hat. Hard to misinterpret someone shouting, "Now you can't marry my son," while holding a lighter. The Cleveland media had embraced our story earnestly. What began as a sensational local wedding disaster had evolved into a discussion about toxic family dynamics and standing up for healthy relationships. Several women's magazines had contacted us requesting interviews about maintaining boundaries with difficult in-laws. Eddie says the agency has received 3 new client requests specifically asking for the team with the wedding dress Phoenix. I laughed, showing Jason the message. He wants to know if we'd consider participating in a panel discussion on crisis management when we return. Jason took my hand, his thumb brushing over my new wedding band. Only if you want to. We can keep this private if you prefer. I thought about the messages we'd received from other couples facing similar challenges with disapproving families. Maybe our experience can help others. Not how I plan to begin our marriage, but authentic, Jason finished. Like us. 3 months after our wedding, Jason and I attended the Wilson Family Foundation's annual gala, our first major public appearance since returning from our honeymoon. The event, typically orchestrated by Margaret, had been completely reimagined under Mr. Wilson's direction. Nervous? Jason asked as our car arrived at the Cleveland Art Museum. A little, I admitted, smoothing my gown, a stunning emerald design from Eliza's boutique, who had transformed our wedding story into a successful marketing campaign about resilience and second chances. Inside, the atmosphere was noticeably different from previous years. The rigid formality had been replaced with genuine warmth. Mr. Wilson greeted us at the entrance, looking years younger without Margaret's controlling presence. There they are, he beamed, embracing us both. The couple who inspired our foundation's new initiative. He guided us toward a display showcasing the Wilson Family Foundation's newest program. Rising Phoenix grants for women starting over after difficult life transitions. The foundation logo had been redesigned to incorporate a subtle phoenix motif. We've already approved funding for 15 women, Mr. Wilson explained proudly. Each one rebuilding after challenging circumstances. As we mingled with guests, I noticed Margaret's absence had affected the guest list. Gone were many of the social climbers and status-conscious acquaintances, replaced by people genuinely passionate about the foundation's work. Mrs. Wilson, a young woman, approached, introducing herself as one of the grant recipients. Your wedding story gave me courage to leave my toxic marriage. Now I'm starting my own business. Later that evening, as Jason and I shared a quiet moment on the museum's terrace, he received a text message. Mom's returning to Cleveland, he said, his expression thoughtful. Dad says she's agreed to counseling if she wants any chance of reconciliation. I squeezed his hand supportively. Whatever happens with your parents, we face it together, just like we did with the wedding. He smiled, pulling me close. Some flames are meant to destroy. Others just reveal what's unbreakable.